Right, here's a little explanation about the rule changes in 9 ball, particularly for uh, tournaments in Virtual Pool 4 Online, but not specifically. Um, we've got a 9 ball match set up. It's just going to be between myself and myself, and it's 9 ball, the default table. I don't know what room we're in. I think it might be hard times. I think it's set to 8 racks or something. That doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. If we go into the advanced settings, this is where you can change the rules. And there's some quite important things that you can change. Um, you have handicapping options that you can put in the match. And it's important in how you actually mix handicapping and how you make it fair for either player. So we've got the setup here where it's default winner breaks. You can change those parameters where it's winner breaks or loser breaks. It's not very often you have loser breaks in a tournament. Occasionally you have alternate break, but normally it's winner breaks. 9 ball, you don't normally have call shot where you have to call the money ball. Normally it's default anyway, but you do have options where you can have it off altogether or you can have it on. But default is generally off. You have the 3 foul rule in 9 ball, which strategy wise is an important feature and an important rule in the game. Default is always on because the 3 foul rule is usually always on in 9 ball, but you can switch it off. And the other one is the first break. If you have it as coin flip, it will automatically put a player into break, but normally you would have it on lag, so that both players will lag balls, and whoever gets closest to the kitchen rail will win the option of either breaking or actually putting their opponent into break should they choose. And then you have the option of jump cues on or off. Normally jump cues are on, but quite a lot of tournaments in the States, sometimes they do have them off. The other important ones is you have call money. Now 9 ball, generally the money ball is off, or the call money is off, which means that if, for example, you were playing a straight match and you broke the balls and you potted the 9 on the break, you'd get a golden break and you'd win the rack. This one here, spot money, is very important if you have a handicapping system in, and particularly if it's money ball handicapping. So if you have spot money off, the important thing about that is that if, say, you have 2 players playing each other and one of the players is getting 5 and out, that's the biggest handicap you can get in Virtual Pool 4 and 9 ball. Now, if they're getting 5 and out, that means that the 5 ball, the 6, the 7, the 8 and the 9 are their money balls. If you have spot money off with that handicapping, that means that that player can break off, and if either of those balls, the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8 or the 9, go in off the break, they automatically win the rack. Now, that is a fairly high odds thing that they can break and pot a money ball off the break if they have that amount of money balls. So it's a bit unfair to have spot money off. Now, if you have spot money on in a multi-ball handicapping tournament, that means that the player who's getting a handicap can break off, and if he pots any of his money balls in the break, they get respotted, and then it plays on as a normal rack of 9 ball. Now that is fairer than actually, I mean, it could be in a race to 5 that this player breaks off, and each time he pots a money ball, his opponent might not even get a shot. He could lose 5 racks in a row by the one single player just breaking off and potting a money ball off the break. So it's always best to have spot money on, particularly when the handicapping is in money balls. If the handicapping was in racks, then you could possibly still have spot money off. that would mean that a player who's saying getting a 3-rack start in a race to 7, he'd be 3-0 up, and he wouldn't have any other money balls other than the 9 ball. So in this case, if he potted the 9 ball off the break, he would still win the rack, but the odds of him doing that are a lot less than actually potting a money ball in a multi-ball handicapping tournament. So in that case, you could have it either on or off. But spot money is always fairer when you have it on in a multi-ball handicapping tournament. And then the other one is the push out. Normally in a tournament, I think push outs are always on after the break, but in actual fact, I think at one time I did a tournament where players could push out at any time, and that would mean that you could push out any time during the rack if you didn't have a shot, but then racks would tend to get tied up and you'd end up playing safety all the time and stuff like that. But most of the time, push out is just where you have a push out after the break. Now the other one is rack money. Now rack money, if we go to at the moment rack money's off, so if I go to the table and we go and look at the diamond of balls, if you look at where the 1 ball is, excuse me, the 1 ball is on the spot, and then of course the rest of the balls are in behind, and the 9 ball, the important one, is in the middle of the diamond. Now in this case, the 9 ball is sitting 2 inches behind where the 1 ball is. It's behind the second row of balls, so that is a normal rack of 9 ball, and the 1 ball is sitting there. So what we'll do is we'll look at this angle and we'll see where the money ball's sitting, and we'll put rack money on. So what we'll do is we'll quit the match and we will go into the advanced settings. Oops, we'll put myself back into the game. We'll go to advanced and we'll put rack money on, and then we'll look at the triangle again, look at the diamond again. So we'll go to the table, we'll go to the diamond, and the difference here is that where the 1 ball was actually sitting there on that spot. But rack money means that you're racking the money ball, the 9 ball, on the head spot of where the diamond is. Excuse me, the voice is breaking up here. So what you're effectively doing is moving the rack up the table. Now what does that do? Well, it actually changes the way the balls break. The balls are going to go to different angles on the rails when you break off, so the lay of the table in theory can be different, and it can change the whole layout of the game. Most of the time I think most tournaments are left as it is with just a normal rack, but racking the money ball is putting the 9 ball onto the head of the diamond and effectively moving the diamond up the table. So they're moving up the table by 3 or 4 inches at least, if you look at the way that's laid out. So that's what rack money is. I'm going to quit the match. Quick summary. Default table. Advanced settings. Once again, that would normally be the layout and the setup for a standard tournament, with lagging the balls, the 3 foul rule on, the call shot off, and it's winner breaks, and the jump cues are on. So you can mess about with some of those settings, but the important ones with multiple money ball tournaments is you really must, to make it fair, you must have the spot money on.